The Florida housing market is absolutely changing. It's getting to a point where it's becoming somewhat pivotal. How will the market be trending in the future in terms of prices? And so this video is going to be about talking through some of the nuances that we're starting to see. And so if you're somebody that's looking to purchase a home, or maybe you're selling a home pretty soon, you're going to want to watch this video because there's a lot that you're going to need to be aware of, all these changes that we're starting to see in the housing market. We're going to look at performance data first, just to give us an idea of the health of the market. So starting off high level, we're going to look at US data. The median prices hit an all-time high in April. The housing market in the US is still going strong. Of course, the market frenzy that we had 2 or 3 years ago, that wasn't sustainable, and certainly the pace of the market is much slower. But because the demand is still beyond the supply of homes in the market, the prices are continuing to go up. And so for all those people who've been writing about a market crash for the last 3, 4, 2 years,
they were wrong.
Overall, the market is holding. So now let's go down on the local level and look at Florida in general. So looking at Florida median price, it actually also hit an all-time high in April and now sits at $391,000. Everything needs to be looked at locally, not just on a state level, but also on a city level, in a neighborhood level, what types of properties you're looking for. Overall, yeah, Florida's doing okay. But then once you start drilling down deeper, we're starting to see cracks in the market, which I'm going to allude to. So let's do that. Single family homes hit an all-time high in April and it's now at 429K, which is 5% beyond where it was the same time last year. Now, condos and townhomes are also sitting at an all-time high at about $335,000, which is just a little bit over 3% where it was same time last year in April. But I do believe heading into the later months of this year, there's a potential for us to see the median prices dip below where they were last year. And that really comes down to the Surfside bill and the mandate it's posing on older buildings, especially those that are 30 years old or reaching the age of 30, 25 years old. If they're closer to the shore, they have to go through a mandate where they need to go through an inspection. It's called the milestone inspection and a reserve study. And it all has to be done by the end of this year if the building is reaching the age of 30 or 25, like I said, if it's closer to the shore. In the news, we're hearing a lot of terrible stories of those condo owners who are really tight on their budget and now they're being dealt with these major assessments that they need to pay off, or condo fees going up, and they're either going bankrupt or they're forced to selling their home. And so people are tapping into these headlines from all over the US, all over the world, and if they were at one point looking to purchase a condo, a lot of them are now looking at single family homes or maybe townhomes, anything but a condo, when in fact many condos in Florida are still a really good purchase, especially the younger ones that are not 3 stories and higher. It's these negative condo headlines here in Florida that are going to depress the demand for condos overall. There's some halo effect even on younger condos, when in fact the majority of the pain points are with older condos that are 3 stories and higher. And so if you're somebody in the market that's looking to purchase a condo, if you want to stay away from the Surfside bill mandate, look at condos that are younger, that are not 3 stories and higher. But I also believe that if you're doing the right analysis, there are going to be some really good opportunities in purchasing an older condo that is going to be in sought after areas such as Miami, on Siesta Key, on Lido Key, on the shores, because the majority of the condos, co-ops, are going to be in older buildings. So you're going to want to find one that either has already gone through the Surfside bill mandate, you already know what the assessments are going to be, maybe the current owner has already paid those assessments, and if not, you know what the assessments are and you can build that into your offer price. The Surfside bill was really passed in order to ensure that these buildings, condos, co-ops, are going to be well maintained moving forward. And so in ways, it should offer up peace of mind for current homeowners and also those that are purchasing an older condo, knowing that in years from now, the condo has been well maintained, as it should, based on these inspections that they're going through. The unfortunate part of this is that a lot of the buyers who purchased 2, 3, 4 years ago weren't anticipating potentially high assessments, and many of them can't afford it. So now they're stuck either having to try to figure out how they can pay off their bills, or maybe they have to sell their home altogether, and it's just a really tough position that they're being put into. And it's unfortunate because it would have been avoided if the associations had done what they really should have done, and that is to take care of the building, to get the funds needed to bring the reserves up, to ensure that the building was well taken care of when repair work needed to happen. Purchasing a condo in Florida can still be a good idea as long as you do your homework, and even better yet is to connect with the buyer's agent that can help navigate the landscape. When we analyze the market in Florida, we now have to look at single family homes and condos very much separate, because I believe that the single family homes in general, those prices are going to continue to go up slightly, few percentage points year over year. Condos is a big question mark, and it actually may go down versus same time last year. So let's split it when we analyze the market data in Florida. I also believe that we're going to have some extremes in terms of regionality and how they're going to fare in Florida. So Miami, for example, Orlando, they're doing really well. Miami's on fire. Orlando is up as well, April versus same time last year. So is Tampa. But then looking at areas such as Fort Myers, Cape Coral, and even Northport, which were hit pretty hard during Hurricane Ian just a few years ago. Homeowners insurance is much harder to get in those areas, and if you do get it, it is very expensive. And so demand has really fallen. A lot of people are also trying to sell their homes. So demand is down, supply is up, and prices are actually coming down, not by 20%. So I wouldn't say the market is necessarily crashing in those areas, but homes are sitting on the market way longer, and prices are down by about 5 to 6% year over year versus same time last year. So much softer in those areas. And that is a perfect example of how you need to collect the local real estate agent to understand how the market is faring in that area, because Florida overall could be doing just fine. The US could be doing just fine.
But what is the local market doing?
So when we look at overall top information, it just gives you an idea of the health of the housing market. If the local information says otherwise, that is a red flag. And that's when you need to ask yourself, well, why are prices coming down when in Florida it's going up, the US is going up? If the US prices are going up and Florida overall is coming down, well, the question is, what macro events are inducing those prices to come down? Is it political? Is it climate? Is it what have you? So that's why it's so important to drill down on the information to really help you understand what the dynamics are in a local market. Having context is also so important. So I see a lot of articles written about how homes are just sitting on the market. It takes so much longer to sell a home versus 2 or 3 years ago. Yes, that is absolutely true. But that is information that's kind of just out there in the vacuum without giving it context. If compared to 2019, 2018, single family homes are actually sitting on the market just as much as they were in 2019, 2018, when prices were still going up by 3-4% year over year. Anything that happened during the COVID years is statistically called an outlier and probably will never happen again unless we have another pandemic. So taking those pandemic years out, which will bring us back to 2019, that's going to give you really good performance benchmark. And so looking at single family homes and months of supply and how long it takes for it to sell, it's very much on par with where it was in 2019. But now for the condos, it is actually beyond where it was in 2019. We now have about 6.9 months of supply of condos. In a healthy market, prices typically hold when it's just around 6 months of supply. Once it gets beyond that 6 months, I think it's just a matter of time when prices will come. At the end of the day, nobody really knows if the prices in Florida are going to go up towards the end of the year or they're going to come down. Nobody really knows, and these are just best guesses. What economists try to do, they look at all these different data points, whether they're economic, financial, political, environmental, to provide you with the best forecast based on the information that they have available to them at this point in time. And right now, there's no indication that the housing market in Florida is going to crash. Though I think there's a pivotal moment that we're reaching based on the fact that there's the condo crisis, HOA fees, assessments going up for certain condos, the homeowners insurance crisis. It's real here in Florida. Homeowners insurance has gone up quite a bit for many of us, especially those that live in older homes. Condo prices will likely to come down some, not just older condos, but also younger condos because of that halo effect. But I think single family homes are going to do just fine, though I believe that single family homes that are in a flood zone, for example, not in an exclusively sought after place right on the shore, those might be hit harder as well. I do think that there's going to be some remigration inside of Florida where maybe initially people wanted to be really close to the shore. They're now going to look elsewhere. And we're seeing that with the demand going down in Cape Coral, for example, or Fort Myers, and that demand is being spilled over to other areas in Florida. Some people are sitting on the sidelines right now because of the mortgage interest rates being, pretty high versus where they were 2 years ago. But if the mortgage interest rates do come down, whether it's the end of this year, beginning of next year, I do think that those people who are sitting on the fence, they're going to come back in and they're going to be purchasing, especially those homes that are between $400,000 to $1 million. And those are the homes that we're seeing prices come down slightly. On the higher end, those prices are actually coming up. And that just goes to show you that those people who are mostly cash buyers, who don't depend on mortgages, they're purchasing really expensive homes. And they're coming from places such as California, New York, Canada, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, because it is more affordable for them. So you got those people who can afford living in Florida coming down here. Got your baby boomers, a lot of them are just now retiring, in retirement age. They're gonna want to move to some place that's a little bit warmer, maybe more affordable. Remote work is still here to stay, and a lot of them are able to move to more affordable places such as Florida while still making the income that they've been making. It's like being on vacation, but you're able to work here as well. And to them, it's been a dream being able to work by the beach, for example. Plus, you got your millennials, which are now on average 32, 33. They're getting married, they're creating households, they're having babies, and they want their own home in order to build that equity, in order to do as they wish inside of the home, contingent upon them, of course, following local and state laws. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You can do me a favor, like this video, just help out the channel. Let me know what is your frustration with Florida, with the housing market. How do you see the housing market evolving in the near future? Leave us a comment below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and take care.